Welcome to one with TJK, ladies and gentlemen. In this case, it is ladies, and I'm the one gentleman. TJK on. We are here today to talk with a group of amazing, transformational game changers who are all located in Uganda. It is late in Uganda, it is early in the United States. The topic today, ladies and gentlemen, is a juicy, juicy topic. We are going back to childhood, talking about parenting, and specifically talking about our parents. We are going to dig deep in relationship with our fathers. We'll dive into experiences that have shaped the people we are today. The amazing transformational people I'm talking with today will share the experiences. Both. Some will change your life. Some you will learn. Others you will unlearn. Others you will relearn. We are mothers, we are aunts, we are singers, we are people who are here to just be as vulnerable as we can as we share our experiences. Do not judge, ladies and gentlemen, just listen and learn. With me today, we have Immaculate, we have Kiza, and we have Kecho. Other people will be joining us, but ladies, please introduce yourselves, tell us a little bit about yourselves, and we start this conversation on one-on-one with TJK. Immaculate, who are you? Tell us a little bit.
Good evening. Good evening from Uganda. I am Immaculate Kanyiginya, a mother of 4 wonderful children, and a technician with MTN Uganda.
Thank you. I wore your colors today.
Yes.
The next box, we have Kiza Umutesi Kimbugwe. Tell us a little about yourself from Mulangira wa Kabaka.
Hi, I'm Kiza Kimbugwe, and I'm not a Mulangira, I'm a Mumbeja.
Oh, hi. Abachiga tetubimanyi.
I'm happy to be here on TJK today, this evening. And I'm into media and PR and events. Passionate about that.
Tell us about your name and where you go.
Okay, and I've got a Chiga name, Komhanji. Jackson Kaguri's late mother, Mama Janet, gave me that name when I visited Kambuga in 2008, I think, or 2009. Very lovely lady. So she decided to give me a name. The son had never thought of giving me a Chiga name. Imagine that. So yeah, I'm proudly called Komohanji.
Yeah, they're going to be digging and making fun of each other. Kechimuli, my sister, adopted. Tell us about
You're dead, Kiza. Come hand. Welcome to all kids. Hello. My name is Denise Kechimuli. I am got many things, multifaceted. So I'm a mother, I'm a daughter, I'm a sister, but above all, I am a perinatal bereavement advocate, which means I advocate for care after loss for mothers and fathers who have lost their babies below 1 year. So I'm the founder of Vessel Is Me, which is an organization that offers psychosocial support to women and couples dealing with pregnancy and infant loss, as well as infertility. Also an author, and I love reading books. That's how we are here, not so? Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that was such a nice what do they call it? You did a very nice intro of yourself.
So ladies, today we are having a group discussion on a sensitive yet important topic: our relationships with our fathers we want to get deeper into our experiences, which goes back to our parents. Our parents came together, have us children. We have had different experiences, and we want to share with the world some of these experiences, whether it is positive, whether it is negative. The day is to learn, relearn, unlearn. And as you heard, Immaculate is a mother. I am a father of 4 children. Kechimuri is a mother. Komohanji.
Komohanji is a mother of 5.
Komohanji is a mother of 5.
Yeah.
Wow.
And for me, as a man who has worked for so many mothers and grandmothers through Nyaka organization, and who continue to strive to be a role model for both my biological children and adopted children, I have worked so hard to break the cycle. And breaking that cycle is something I work on every day. When my children wake up, I am intentional to be present in their lives, to say good morning, hug them at night and say I love you, to make sure they are sleeping right. I wake up in the middle of the night and I walk in their rooms one by one and say a prayer a little bit. Nicholas, the oldest, 21 years old, big man, he doesn't want me to open his door, but I still peek in his room and go, God bless this young man as he's growing up. Nolan, who is 12, he loves hugs. Nolan is a hugger. And I give him a hug and tell him, I love you, Nolan. I'm so proud of you. Tess and Talia, twins. I am a Salongo. So for those of you who are listening from Uganda, Salongo is such a big honor to be a father of twin girls. Their room is a sanctuary for me. And I go in their room and pray with these children. I read with them. And I try to do to them what was not demonstrated to me. Because growing up in Kanungu, Mzee Eric Kaguri, my father, is alive and kicking. My mother has passed away, but my mother had that touch affection that a child really, really needs in their lives. My father, not there. And not there, not because he didn't want to be, but because he didn't even know what being close to a child means. For him, he never had his father around, but even if he did, the culture in Nyakshenyi, Bikongozo, Rukunji district, the man just gets with a woman, have a child, and he has to work hard to provide for that child to grow up. The affection is not there. But as I grew up and read books and parenting, started looking at those things I didn't get, but I wished I get. So that is a little bit about me and about my father. Eric Kaguri is alive and kicking. Kiza is a good friend of my father. 2010, I'm a founder and CEO. I am an accomplished man. I am an author. I'm a CNN hero. I have 3 PhDs. I've written 7 books. I'm successful. I don't care what the world says successful is. I am successful. And I know it. But the urge of wanting that father to say, I am proud of you as a 53-year-old man is still there. And my father has never said it. Has never said, oh, son, I'm proud of you. And I've seen it over and over. Old men on dying beds pulling their sons and going, son, I've always loved you and I'm proud of you. So as a compensation, I have overcompensated with my 4 children. Hey, Hey, Nicholas, I'm so in love with you. I am so proud of you. I know you can do it. And now he shrugs it off. Yeah, Dad, I know. But I know inside his heart, when he goes in his community with his friends and somebody says, Nicholas, you can't do this, he's like, I don't care what he says. My father is proud of me. And he loves me. And so the conversation begins there. We have here people, we have you, some of you whose fathers are professors. For many years, I thought my father didn't do this because he didn't know what to do. He's not educated. He can't speak English. And then a friend of mine who I invited on this conversation, and he said, no, I'm not ready for this. His father was a professor and a dean of a whole university. And he had some issues I have. I've been to Asia, I've been to Australia, I've been on every continent in this world, and in each part of the world, I've met people who tells me they didn't have a relationship with their father. And some of them have used the word, my father was an... So to start on a positive note, Kiza Komohanji, tell us about your upbringing and your relationship with your father.
I'm blessed, extremely blessed, because my father did not grow up with his father till he was much older, and but we did live with my grandfather for about 20 years of our lives, and he was the most loving man ever. My father is a bit spoiled. We say he's spoiled because he's the last born, and his mother had him, she was much older when she had him. So he's really spoiled, and I think my mother hasn't helped. So my dad is very spoiled.
Last borns are not spoiled. I'm a last born. Look at me.
Yeah, you are spoiled, and you know it. You're really spoiled, and you know it. So my dad is really spoiled, but I've been blessed to have been brought up and grown in a very loving house. My father is. I got a medal. Let me give you an example. I got a medal just the other day, and I asked them to drop it over at my parents' house because it was closer to Muyenga. And when it got there, he opened it up, and then he called me. He said, you know what? I'm throwing you a party because you've gotten this medal. I came number 48, but to my dad, I'm like, it's the biggest thing. He doesn't forget birthdays. He was going to be the first person to call at 6 and sing happy birthday, off tune, but he's done it. And he calls us. He called each and every one of us. I don't take these things for granted because I've heard from my friends who don't have relationships like that. I call my dad, we call him baby now because he's decided he wants to be called baby. And if you don't call him that, he doesn't answer. And we're used, and he throws tantrums and all that. But then he's very alert. Do you have a problem? He's going to sort it out. He's going to give you advice, but he's also going to make fun of you. When he meets your friends, he's really in touch, tries to be friendly. He's always been supportive. I remember when we were little, he used to do our hair. We've grown up knowing there is no job for a man that a woman can't do. He would bathe us, he would do our hair, cook. We grew up in a household where whoever gets home first with the children sorts this all out. So I remember going to school for so many years, and Dad would do our, hair for us. The other day he went to London for a graduation, and we laughed so hard, and he came back with lipstick for all his daughters and roll-ons, I was like, oh my God, because he's always made fun of all lipstick and whatnot, and then we were surprised. So when I went to the house, and he's like, oh, anyway, I brought you something from London, and he came with his Cavera, and then he gives me lipstick and a roll-on, just those small things. When you turn 16 at my house, you always get a necklace. When you turn 18, you get a ring. These are things he's always, very, very present man. My dad was a journalist in his former life. And maybe that's where I get the reading from. But he really, really encouraged each and every one of us to do what you're best at, what you like. I've got all these books that he bought us because I was the reader in the family. But then my other sister loved music. My other sister loved swimming. The boys loved football. He's very, oh God, he's such a blessing, baby. That's the whole truth. Very, very present. And he's done the same thing with the children. So he's very present with the children. He's given the boys wine while they are still like 12 years old. He says, why not? Take it from here so that you don't go to bars and drink and lose it. But he's also going to be the first person to tell me, Kiza, rein it in. Rein it in, bring it back. That wasn't nice. So I'm thankful for that. And I'm seeing it with the boys in the family, the boys who we've given birth to, very aware, and they may not be, a lot plays with their father as well, but you also see that there are things they do the way their grandfather does things. My father opens car doors for you. My father will open the door for you. Up to this day, he does it for my mom. He does it for us when, you've come to visit him and you're leaving. He's going to open that door for you so that you get in. So he's a dream, and we're blessed.
Let me tell you something. After this call, we are doing a training for fathers in Uganda, and your dad needs to be on that panel.
Yeah, baby needs to get work to do so that he stops breaking the house. I beg your pardon?
Your dad buys lipstick for you?
Yes.
My dad would thank my sisters for putting on lipstick.
He buys us lipstick, he buys us roll-on, perfume.
Yes, you are a hoa if you put on lipstick.
Lipstick, I know.
My sisters.
He'll tell you your hair looks nice. He's a really, really nice chap.
Cheers to your father.
And I don't have a glass here with his red wine.
Sip and read.
Cheers, your father, Madam Kiza. Cheers. I know him. I know his work. I know them together. They are indeed amazing people.
Oh, thank you.
They have inspired me so much. I met them in 1997.
Oh, wow.
Ooh.
Yes, and I've always admired that couple.
Thank you, Auntie.
Oh my goodness, Goretti, you are.
But they looked so modern and too modern to me when I met them.
Now you are going to make all the people, the jackies who didn't come to this call. Ladies and gentlemen who are listening to this is Sip and Read. Sip and Read was started by Ketchumly, Pecho, and she got us together to read and sip. People are not sipping today. I'm sipping.
I'm not sipping. I'm not understanding.
Yes.
Hey, Kecho, what happened?
All right. So that's how we got here. And the conversation is going to continue. People will get their sips on. We read books. We share ideas. We learn, unlearn, and relearn from each other. We've had a model father who buys lipstick for his daughters, even when they are. Denise, tell us about you. Tell us about how you were raised a little bit, and summarizing. Kiza went all the way. We can have this in 2 segments, 3 hours, but we can also have it short. We are here. Nobody's picking us out.
Okay.
And Kiza is sipping her water. Yes, coffee, water, wine, beer, whatever you are sipping, enjoy.
Whatever you see.
This was started, sip and read. Cheers to you, Ketchumli, our fearless leader who started this, and now we are here. Tell us about you, and tell us about your dad.
No, my upbringing, I am a product of professor and lecturer. So we grew up in Makere in a bubble. Everyone I meet is like, we were in a proper bubble. Like, we grew up with swimming pool, tennis court, squash, anything that we needed was within. We never left our cocoon. My father, I keep telling people, spoiled me. When people say spoiled, I'm like, yes, I do not deny it. But I think he was strict for the first, we are 6. So he was strict for the first 3. In the last 3, I think he was like, let me breathe. You know, that kind of thing where the pressure is not to provide to what he now came down. So 83 onwards, he was his parenting changed all the way. So my parents are both parties. They were forever throwing parties. So my father is the kind of person who you get a 4, there's a party. When you said your dad, you got a medal, that's my dad. Is like, okay, so we are getting meat, drinks, calling people. That was my father. Growing up, he was present but not present. My father was never on planes. As a professor, he would go out. There was not much opportunity for him here, so most of his work was done out. But the one thing he did is always carry something for his children, whether shirt or what. Up to now, he will come back with a perfume, piece of chocolate, something. So for me, in my head, when you say you're going outside the border, I know when you come back, you have to carry something. It's in my head now. As my siblings do the same thing, I do the same thing. So he became more present for me as an S1. But my dad is people who know him, he's like 7 foot something. So already just his presence is, guys.
He's 7 foot. That's
like
a basketball player, but
it's like 6. It's like huge. So people used to have that. He wouldn't speak, so just his presence would scare people. And yet his laughter is hearty. You know those people who laugh and cry? That's my dad. And he likes his own joke. Like I keep telling people we are supporting actors. This guy, for him, his jokes are for him to enjoy. And I think you can imagine a professor's jokes. You have to decipher the whole thing, like what is going on.
Oh gosh.
My mom and him, lovely people, like they could sit and talk for hours, So growing up, for me, generally, he was present for me more from high school onwards. And my other siblings have different stories. I have learned that everyone experiences their parents differently. Them access to their parents so the way they were raised at the time. But up now, I think my dad is a very, very caring person. But it's a side that few people have gotten to see or experience. His hand is really, when they say iron hand, he is that no nonsense. His yes is yes, his no is no. And it was not for come back and try. No.
There's no gray.
It's black.
Gray color in it. It says black or white.
So one of the things my siblings, I think on Father's Day, wrote and said, thank you for challenging us to have integrity, because my father has never appeared in any newspaper. My father has never, for things that, those people who, you ask yourself, but this person is a whole parent. How are they?
Yeah.
They're in the newspaper, they have, I don't know. My father never has those things. Every office you enter, somebody has a story to tell about him, and he's no nonsense. One of his students, Emmanuel Katongo, he said, you'd enter, it's 8, let's say the lecture starts at 8 a.m. At 7:45, you're early, which means at 8, you've missed 15 minutes of the lecture. So he's rubbing the board when you come in.
Ooh.
And he's like, by the lecture starts at 8, like, you're late. On time is late. And we learned that time management in our family, for me actually, is something that whenever I see Ugandans and they're like, are we leaving when you tell Ugandans 8, they leave at 8, right? So at our place we learned to tell them.
We had that experience
7
recently at our book
Yes.
read in Kampala. Some people didn't show up, some
Yes.
showed up 2 hours later, some didn't.
I'm like, Dad, you know this program is coming. Plan your route. That's my dad. He's my dad would leave you. You know these things of you're getting ready for a party? And
Now I know why you were on time.
He would leave you. You come out of the house, what? And the car is not there. And you're like, hello? He's like, yeah, you are late. So we learned 1 hour preparation before. Everyone tells me, they're like, Kecho, you're such a stickler for time. I'm like, man, my dad taught me that thing. So being a product of, and he also taught me how to read. That one, he was really, he was a stickler for it. My mother taught me how to read out loud. My father how to read big books. So he'd come back. One of the things that he always used to buy were books. He'd come back, he's like, I need a summary in 1 week. So people see me every time, they're like, how do you go through this? I'm like, hey. When the professor asks you for a summary in 1 week, you arrange yourself and still
get it done.
Actually, we are going to get deeper into more conversation.
Yeah.
Maturity is smiling and waiting to tell us about her.
Hi, brother.
How are you doing?
I'm
a little bit. And we are going to have rounds of questions. We'll come back to each one of you. Goretti, if you don't want us to come to you, that's fine. You can listen in. But Matama, Kiza, Kecho, and Immaculate are going to share, and the questions were sent to you ahead of time, so you know what is happening. Immaculate.
Yes.
Mother.
Oh, wow. Wow, those stories are alien to me. Wow, that's wonderful. Like, it's really wonderful to know that fathers can be like that. Personally, I didn't grow up with my dad at all. I was raised by a single mom, and the memory of seeing my dad growing up was every holiday. My mom made it a point for me to go visit him. I think that's all the relationship I had, really. Like, every end of term, I'd get home and carry my report and go see my father, see him for that day, and go back to my mother's. So I really didn't have a relationship. When I got to Form 4, something happened in Form 3 that annoyed me, and I was like, I'm not doing this again. And I didn't see him for that whole year of my Form 4. And then the next I saw him was in my senior 4 VAC. And
from primary 4 to...
No.
What?
Senior 3.
Okay.
In senior 3, something happened.
To the end of senior 4, okay.
Yeah, the end of senior 4. I saw him in my senior 4 VAC.
What happened later?
What happened? Yes?
You will tell us.
Should I answer that now, or it will come later?
Later. You'll tell us later.
Yes, I'll tell you later. And I joined. There was really no relationship at that point. I started trying to understand the person that he was when I got to know my father's side of the family, which was in my Form 4 vacation. And auntie took me on to go and stay with her in my vacation. That's when I started getting to know a little bit of my father. And the things people were saying were really strange to me. But we went through life. Fast forward, I think a few years ago, that's when I realized I need to have a relationship with my dad. And I started making the effort. I try to call, it's not as often, but I call, I text, I don't know, send airtime, something. But in this whole thing, it's been me. he's never picked his phone to call me and say hi or send me a message or something. So it's been that's
Doing
where
the
we are.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Hello, Mr. Kaguri. This is Goretti.
Goretti, it off, my dear.
Yes. I wouldn't
You are
mind
labeled as
sharing.
iPhone. So for our viewers on YouTube, when you see iPhone, Goretti.
I know. This is Goretti iPhone.
Yes.
I am who I am today because I was brought up by a very, very wonderful man.
Yeah.
Mr. Kaguri, I think I'm like 3 generations before you.
Really? I am 53.
Yes.
Be careful. I'm 53.
I'm
don't look at it.
I'm 65. I'm 65.
Yes, it's one generation.
Yes.
It's one generation.
All right. Yeah. So, me, I'm really. I didn't want to take time from you because I wanted to learn more of the youngest generation.
Yeah.
But I think it's important that I share also with you mine. My father was a great father. My parents were a great couple. I learned a lot from them that I still practice up to today. One is respect. 2 is love. 3 is the God's presence in our lives.
Yes.
So my father was not a peasant and also not a professional, as I may say, because he's a man who went to school up to P6 then. That was in the 50s. So at that time, that was a great education.
Yeah.
So he worked with the coffee. He was an expert in coffee. But I want to share 2 things. One, what my father told me. He took us outside at night. We lived in a deep, deep village where you look at the sky and it's so dark.
Tell us your village. Which village?
My village is called Kisoro.
Kisoro.
Have you been to Kisoro?
Oh my God. Okay. We will have a map of Kisoro, listeners. That is a place of mountains. Up and down. All right. He took you out.
And I want to invite the young girls to visit me at my home village so that they can see where I come from.
Would love to have sip and read in Kisoro.
Exactly. I'm inviting all of you. Anyway, he taught us about God.
Yes.
We kept on asking him many questions about God. 3 of us were following each other.
Yes.
So he took us outside in the darkness and he told us, look up in the sky and tell me what you see. We were seeing small stars. So we told him, and then he said, what do you think is holding the sky, those stars? We said, we don't know. He said, that is God now. So that's how I started knowing about God. What holds the moon? What holds the sky? What holds the stars and they don't land fall on us? That's one. The best thing he taught me about life. Then my disappointment in my dad, which I contained and I still will contain.
Okay.
In 1979, I was in Nairobi. Many of those girls were not yet born. My father taught me again how to read books. He used to read and would read together. So I went and I bought a book. The title was In God's Name, I don't even know whether you have heard of that book.
No.
But you can Google it. In God's Name is equivalent to the latest movie. The title is The Youngest Pope.
Youngest Pope.
The movie. Look for it.
The Youngest Pope.
The book?
No, the movie.
The
I
book
think I've seen it on Netflix.
I have also.
I'm going to watch
now.
Youngest Pope tonight.
If you watch that movie, you will have like read In God's Name.
Yeah.
In God's Name, I talked to my father about it. My father was so disappointed with me because he was a staunch Catholic. He said, "You are a rebel. How could you read a book like that?" Anyway, that is it that I can share with you. But I'm grateful to the father I had, to the parents that brought me into this world.
Okay, for our listeners,
And
we are so grateful that we are here in this world because our fathers slept with our mothers and had us. Without that relationship, we won't be here. So I want to make sure people don't think that we are here, we are picking this and picking this. We are grateful, but we also want as parents to start learning, unlearning, relearn as aunts and sengas or shrenkas. So I don't even know how to say it in Chifumbira Chisolo language, but we are here because we want to learn each other. Now, Matama, we have heard from Kiza, we've heard from Kecho, we've heard from my father, we've heard from Immaculate. Matama, my darling. How are you? Where's your picture? Tell us a little bit about you and about your father. We have 3 more questions to go around and everyone will get a chance to respond. But we haven't heard from you, Matama. Full names first.
You're mute.
Are you muted? Matama, you unmute yourself first and please share. Matama 1, Matama 2, Matama 3. Or
maybe.
Yeah, we will come back to Matama when she unmutes herself. We want to go in this question of, does the impact of father-related, the relationship you have with your father, and given that we all come from a patriarchal society, there are fond memories that we cherish, but there are also some moments we wish we could change. I don't want to say regrettable, but there are those moments we could change. And as you address those moments, the cherishable moments, the ones we wish we could change, talk a little bit. Is it possible that a relationship between a father and a son is different from a relationship between a father and a daughter? We'll start with you, Immaculate. Do you have brothers, or where are you just a girl that father?
Right. I have okay, between my mother and my father,
Yes.
I am the only child.
Okay.
Yeah, but my mother I have siblings on my mother's side and I have siblings on my father's side. So between my mom and my father, it's just me. So the question of if it's different, I'm not sure. I don't know how to answer that one. I don't have an experience with it.
Okay. So do tell us, for you, address the memory you cherish with your father, or if there is anything that happened and you think, oh, I wish this was different. regrettable moment that you wish for?
Growing up, I did well in school, and I kind of, when I look back today, I'm grateful that my mother did the thing that she did of sending me to my father every time, and we would go, and I don't remember the conversations we had the time I would see him, but one thing I know is he's kept all my reports. He's kept all my reports that I took him. Yes. And also one time we were having a conversation. I was an adult. I think I'd gone to see him, and he said he regrets not being there for his children. But that is how. So yeah, those things, they kind of give you hope that in the whatever it is that is happening, your father sees you or knows you or thinks about you. That's another thing that my mom, I used to send him messages on his birthday, Father's Day or something, when I'd remember text, and he never responded, until one of those days he meets my mom. He meets my mom and tells him, hey, by the way, Immaculate always sends me messages. I am grateful. But he told my mom
not to.
And he didn't tell me. So I'm like, there's a hope somewhere. So there are those things.
Margaret, are you telling us that you are so young that you texted your dad?
That I'm so young?
That text messaging is a new thing. I am 53. Gorette told you she's 60. I don't remember.
No, you see, I've done this as an adult, but I'm making 38 in a few days. So yeah.
You're a baby. Okay. All right.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm making 38 in a few days.
You texted your dad, and instead of telling you that he appreciates the messages, he told your mother.
He told my mom.
Yeah.
Yes. So the thing that happened and broke me-ish, I think, was in my Form 1 when I was joining Senior 1. I'd been raised by my mom. My mother's side of the family took care of anything that I needed for school. Even when I'd go see him during the holidays, I didn't really go with the thing of I shall come back with the pocket money or fees or anything. No, it was just a thing of go see your father and come back home. So in my Form 1, joining boarding school, they have a discussion with my mom, and they have a discussion, and my mom is like, the bill is bigger now, so let's share this. So they agree, and he says he'll pay my fees. My mom should cater for all the other needs that I need to take to school.
Yeah.
So we prepare. I'm excited, joining Form 1, and that time we used to have, what bank was that? Uganda Commercial Bank, I think.
Yes.
So he tells us, yes. So he says, he communicates with my mom and says, go to the bank in Fort Portal. It was the only bank, I think, at that time, and wait for me. I'll show up. Those days, the bank was closed at 2 p.m. We arrive, I think it was around either 11 midday-ish, and it clocks 2, and he hasn't shown up. Meaning I'm there with all my things. I'm ready to go to school. I carried my suitcase, my mattress, everything. And I remember feeling very disappointed. I joined. Even then, he didn't come through to clear my fees. My auntie came up and cleared my fees, and I started school. And it left me feeling like, are you really my father? Like, what is the thing there? Like, I didn't understand. So yeah, that was one of those moments where I remember I wrote so many letters in my Form 1, but I didn't send them. I wrote so many letters to my father as how I was feeling about the whole situation, until I think I calmed down. Yeah, those are the...
Okay. All right. Thank you, Immaculate. Immaculate, the only child between her father and her mother, and she just shared her experience. But before we came to Immaculate, we were trying to get Matama nickname. You are here. Please tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us about your growing up as a form of introduction. Then go ahead and answer the question. Do you think relationships between fathers and their children is different from boys, sons, and daughters? Take it off, Matama. You are muted again. Matama, unmute yourselves and yourself. Oh Lord. You were supposed to come closer.
I've been trying to find
rather than the
to and from.
We can hear you. Go ahead.
Give me the village is far. Please hear me and the cars in Kampala.
Hi. Miracles happen. How are you doing?
I'm all right. How are you?
Great.
Hotspot.
You are alive. We can see your picture. You are beautiful. We can see you. Please go ahead.
So my name is Mary Matama. What were we saying? Yes. Yeah, by Kecho. Mama Vitavo, definitely.
Oh yeah.
I like to read. I grew up in a single parent home. My mom raised me and my siblings. Jackson, keep asking and I keep answering.
Yes, your mom raised you. What was the relationship between you and your father? Or is there any relationship?
I didn't have a relationship with that man.
Okay.
But I don't know. I'm very confused because so when I was growing up, they kept saying her as his favorite, but the things that he did not match, because like came to boarding school, I wanted a new mattress and my mother, and I don't even remember if he bought the mattress or not, but my mom was just like, let's just go, like let's do to call every time, leave these things alone.
Let's do what is possible.
But the thing she did is every December holiday, every December holiday, she sent us. She is a primary school teacher, so she was a headmistress. Hey, apologies, your ears. Sorry, guys.
We are good.
I don't know what just passed on the road.
Just keep going.
Okay.
So she was a headmistress in a typical village school that, like, we grew up in all the villages in Bugerere. So when I read The First Woman, and it's set in Nazigo, it was so nostalgic because I knew those villages exactly. But we kept moving. Where I should get transferred is where I would go. We didn't have a home. That was ours. We lived in staff quarters until I was at campus when she built her house. So my dad, apart from that letter which I wrote him, and I don't remember if he bought that mattress or not, also your father should send us, go for 2 weeks spot. And my sister, the one I follow, as her handbag. She's 7 years older than me. So every time we went to the village, when she changed clothes, that transport money changed clothes. Like, she'd just tie it on her dress like this, and then she would determine she'd wake up and there, and just when they would be saying go to the garden, she would say, no, we are not going, as we're going back to our mom, and then would leave. But when we'd be leaving, my dad, so he usually went to visit his mom also in December. Also, and my mom sent us to our grandmother because she knew that our dad would come and would be able to see him. But every time we'd be leaving, she would say, thank you, mother, for me. He would say, thank you, mother, for me, for taking care of you guys. And she never anything about him Nothing. You had to experience him for yourself. And when later, when he fell sick, there was a time he felt really sick, and they called her, and then she got up, left her home, went to the hospital, but she went to the hospital as if she was moving in. Like, why? That's a dissonance for me. Like, why are you uprooting your life to go and look after this man? For what? It's different to say that the father of your children is there and doesn't care than to say that she died. And I'm like, why does it even matter? But that's who she was. Then she would reach, then she would take over, pay bills, and then the moment would be fine. He wouldn't even go home with him. He would go home to his then wife, and then she'd also go back to her home. When he died, again, her life stopped. She went, took over that funeral. Like, she just continued to look after him from afar unless he was sick until he died.
Whoa. Oh.
Yeah, that's the summary of it. That's my relationship with my father.
Matama, do you think your relationship with your father was different for you as a daughter, different from your brother?
The question is
it different for sons and different from sons and daughters? Was it different for your brother? Or was your dad?
I don't think it was different based on gender. I think it was different based on the fact that I was young.
Right. We are going to Kecho.
Much younger.
Was your relationship with your dad different from your brother and your dad?
Yeah. Yeah, it was.
You are the queen.
No.
Yeah.
So like,
You already said.
Okay.
I have a younger brother, but it's just my father comes from a matriarchal family.
Yeah.
Mommy's boy. So he actually uplifted women everywhere. Even his office had more women than men. So the men did like driving, but the women like admin, secretaries, he made sure they were female. So he surrounded himself with, up to now, I think he still does. He just thinks women have higher integrity, hardworking, discipline, and those are things instilled in me. So it was different. For the guys, he made their route very hard. Like, let me tell you, my father would pay my fees fully. My brother was in like P1, I was in P7, something like that. Yeah. So you'd pay half for him. And then but I was in P7, so I said, Ma, I think it's you have to finish this year. But when we had conversations with the other, it's like, yeah, I used to do the same. I think that thing of trying to instill struggle in their lives, just didn't want to hand to them. So yes, even now, when I don't think my brothers can go up to him with problems, me, I'm never there.
Asking and getting guided.
Yeah, so for them, it's more of, I have a problem.
That is
no, I have. Is a what?
I always knew you were daddy's daughter.
No, it's not like that, but he's done it. Though, yes, for me, even when dealing with the extended family, if you are female, the girls in your family on his side, they're like, man, Uncle Sam and Neil. The guys are like, man, that guy's hard. He's hard.
Interesting.
You know? Yeah, so he did it. I think he doesn't like just you to have weak build weakness around you. So he has that man up mentality for the men. For the chicks, I think in his head, he figured life is already hard for you. Where I can help, I will help. Yeah.
Thank you. Kiza Komohanji. Relationship between you and your father different from your brothers and your father? And
I've got four brothers, and I think our parents treat us the same all through. You've got to know how to do things. There's nothing for boys, girls. Because my mom is, one hell of a woman. She's, but there's a softness that fathers give daughters. It's there. There's that extra whatever. But I think my dad, he calls all his children in the morning, all of them, boys, girls, he'll call them. You're like, Banange, yeah, but he'll call. He'll make that call. I think they've treated us the same. They've treated us the same. It might have a lot to do with my mother being, my mom tries not to show favoritism, but my dad, today I can be his favorite daughter and he'll tell everybody, and the moment another one comes, he says you're the favorite. So it's a whole game there. But to answer the second question, something that I remember my dad did for me and I'll never forget. What year was Mandela released from prison?
93, 94.
Do you remember?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, so was it 1990 when he was released? January? Anyway, the year Mandela was released from prison. We used to live in Nairobi then, but we had started coming back to Uganda. And so I'd been following Mandela, I'd been reading everything about Mandela. I'd known about Mandela from when I was little because, as I told you, my dad was a journalist.
Yes.
And I'd had all this interest about Mandela. So when we got to know on the news Mandela is going to be released, I told my dad, you know what, I'm breaking my piggy bank so that I go to Sarit Center and get a card to welcome Mandela. And I didn't have enough money. And we went to Sarit Center. And I bought this huge card with crayons. And I wrote, a whole love message to Mandela. I can't remember how old I was in 1990, seeing that I'm 28 now. Anyway.
I thought you were...
I'm 28.
Okay.
Yeah.
Forever.
So I wrote this whole love letter, and I will never forget this because it was this whole thing, Daddy, how is it going to get to him and what not. So he told me, you post it to Robben Island, they'll get it to him. And the day Mandela came out, if you remember on TV, they were showing him with cards and what not. And my dad kept telling me, Kiza, your card is there. I'll never, ever forget that. I think that's the sweetest thing he's ever done for me. And stupid as I could be, because I can beat dance like that, when Obama became president, I still did the same thing. And he supported. So, yeah, really, really nice stuff. I haven't had bad fallouts with my dad because I'm a bit bossy. And I think he lets me be. He can be chilled out. So, no, we haven't had a bad, one of those yet. And he's never spanked me, ever. Maybe because I'm also a nice child. But yeah, he's never spanked me. So yeah, that's it for me.
Wow, wonderful. So ladies and gentlemen, one gentleman. Goretti had to go, and for a real good reason. She sent a message and said she needs to have a conversation with her husband, which they do every single night.
Nice.
Echo. Okawulirapo. We have a conversation every single night. So she had to go. Wonderful.
I don't know why you're trying to trigger Kecho.
I don't understand. I don't know why I'm doing it out. Unfair.
Go to Matama. Matama Okawulirapo. So tell your husband.
Put it the seven. We shall pick the whole tree, not a leaf.
Pick the whole tree.
Give us just a little bit of time to get this conversation. I would like us to go around and talk about if there are moments that we as people on this call that we have had to think about our fathers and things that maybe didn't go right. Have we sought help? There is a lot of counseling, there is therapy, there is help that is out there. Many of us think that just get on our knees and pray, God is going to fix things. My mother was a prayer warrior.
Twina masiko muchegambo che okugaruka kwa yesansaha nikwikoraga nisokokoro togomesereze.
She believed anything can change through prayer, which is good, but we also know in our daily lives, the reason we are having this conversation is to help each other overcome those moments. In 2010, Kiza, who is here, and Justice Ogola, who many of you know, came to a school which I started in Nyaka to preside. Justice Ogola was the person presiding over graduation for children graduating from P7. Because of some of the things I lacked, the relationship I didn't have with my father, what I watched, I was angry at my father for many years. Why did he treat my mother the way he treated her? Why did he not treat me and my sisters and my brother like children? When my father was coming home, we ran away. Many people, including my children, when they walk in the house, they want to hug me. They want to see their father. When I say, hey, I'm home, they all come from what they are doing and come to me. And that is a dream come true. When I was growing up, when my father said, hi, we all ran. What is he going to find now to punish us? What spanking are you going to get? What criticism are you going to get? It was all negative. So, 2010, Justice Ogola comes to preside over graduation. My father is seated there. I bought him with a nice suit and tie. And I turn around and look at him, and the anger had been harboring for many years comes out in a speech that is public. And I start telling parents at that moment, love your children. Tell them you are proud of them. Something I never got as a child, I would like you to do it. When I was done with my speech, Justice Ogola comes to me and says, Jackson, you've done a lot of good things in this community. I admire what you have done, and I wish I could do the same. But you need to forgive your father. And I'm going, this is Justice Vananga Nebuva. And I thought deeply about it afterwards. I'm like, what did this man see in that speech? And from that day, ladies, and I said this recently, I was in Busia with Justice Ogola seated there, and I told Justice Ogola, that is the day I decided I was going to forgive my father. I've done therapy. I still do therapy every week on Friday to overcome the trauma, the issues that I've had with my father. So the next question for all of us is, have you done something about those regrettable moments? Kiza, you don't even have to go there, because for you, your father buys you lipstick. Father. Now, those of us who had issues for 40 years, I am 53. When this happened, is 2010, you can subtract 10. I was 40 years old. I spent 40 years old angry, hating my father. And since that time, I give my father a stipend every month. I post to him on Father's Day. I post him on Father's Day. He's the same man he was when I was growing up, by the way. He's never said, I love you. He's never said, I'm proud of you. But I figured out why. His situation was even worse than what I thought. My father never saw his father. His father died before he was born. My grandmother, his mother, married another man who said, I don't want your children. At 10 years old, my father started working for another family. Houseboy. My father was a houseboy somewhere. When my mother went to visit a relative, he met my mother, and my mother ended up marrying a houseboy. But my father goes to introduce the mother, to introduce his wife, who was coming from a very well-to-do family. My mother came from a preacher's family, land, cows, a chief of the village. So he's never had his manhood. And when he married my mother, the mother's side goes, oh, yo, ayambala mpale nyimpi. Bw'ogenda okuwasa, nangamba nze mwagala bannange, I'm going to be with this man. So all his abuse, all his insecurity was for him to try to prove he is a man in a patriarchal society, which I didn't know. Until I went to therapy, I didn't find out from that what was happening. For me, I thought he's backward, he didn't go to school, he doesn't know anything. But you are, if you don't break the cycle, the trauma you carry will pass on to others. And I have worked so hard to make sure my trauma does not pass to my 4 children. So, hey, volunteers now, tell us how you have dealt with those things. I actually, immaturity, you are the best one to begin with. Who is the father of your 4 children? How is the relationship between your children and their father? And how have you tried to bridge that gap so it doesn't pass on to the next generation? As we conclude, it's coming.
Oh,
It's going to be the longest episode on TJK, but it's worth it.
okay. One thing I did after I separated with the father of my children, and it was a process on its own. And one of the things I needed to do was forgive. It was a very interesting process to go through. But I also realized that in order for my children to have a better life, there are things I need to work on for them to be better. So one of the things I did was I apologized to this man. I went and apologized. And we had a very interesting conversation. Very interesting conversation. Yes?
You apologize?
Did you?
Yes, I apologized to the father of my children.
Okay. That's why.
Yeah. And I remember yes?
What did you
It was part of the forgiveness process. It was part of the
You are
forgiveness
confused right now.
Yes?
And I are confused.
I can see.
I understand why you apologized, Immaculate.
Yes. Sometimes you're the one who knows the thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
You're the one who knows the thing.
Yes.
Yeah. So I apologized. And I remember he took the apology as if I was looking for reconciliation. And I'm like, okay, but no. Here's what is happening.
Yes.
And in that time I thought about my daughter. I have one daughter. And I remember telling him, we have children. And the only way the children are going to turn out well, the only way my daughter will will have a chance of having a good life than what I have had, not have experienced, is if you're in her life like the normal way. Not like, I don't know, there's no friction between me and you. We need to have a working relationship so that we can raise the children. So that is the thing I've tried to do. So he is in their lives. He checks on them, takes them out, have conversation with them. They go to him during the holidays, and I'm hoping that it will be a better experience for them than it was for me. The one with my father, I think I got to know a bit about him when I got to know a bit about his life when I got to know my father's side of the family, and it kind of took all the anger, like not all the anger, most of the anger that I had subdued. When you get to know someone's life in a different perspective, a few things change. Yes, I do struggle with, I would want him to call me one of those days. I don't know, like just pick up your phone and give me a call. I would want him to text me back. I don't know. But I also know it's a process. Probably it's a process for him. So that part, I know it's a work in progress. I haven't gone to therapy yet. I need to go to therapy. Hopefully before this year ends, I'll start, because there are a lot more things, not just my father. There are a lot more other things that I need to deal with. So that is where we are right now.
All right. Thank you for sharing and being vulnerable.
Yes.
Rachel and I are still here going, what? Is bad. Conversation for another day. Then you and I are both divorced. Have you apologized?
This is why I asked for.
Take it off. No, we are talking about whether we have got out to seek out help, therapy, counseling, for some of misgivings, some of the things we didn't know that happened when we were growing up, and the importance. Because I'm also saying this as the only man on the group today. I know many Ugandan men don't seek therapy. I do therapy every week at 9 a.m. on Friday. I went to a retreat where I got to learn. When I was 40, I did start the process of forgiving my father, because he really didn't know what he was doing. Yeah. And never had the resources I have to seek. He did what he knew how to do. He's still the same person, but I don't have to be that person. For me, I'm the person now who has done different for the children. Yes, divorced father, but still so much present in my kids' lives. And I take the girls and tell them, look, I am so proud of you. I love you. I'll give you a hug anytime, any day. I'll tuck you in your bed. Kecho.
But
yes,
I think you being outside has helped a lot, because here the cultural constraints they're chokehold for the men in Uganda to even start hugging. Even here we have somebody who hug is a problem. I want to tag her, so she keeps tagging me. But hug is a problem. Why?
Send her this, him or her this.
She's here. She's on it. She knows herself. She doesn't even know. But the thing is, the African way of being a man, the definition of a man, it stifles their emotional being. And by the time, imagine that somebody has to say, if that was your father, if that was your mother or your daughter, if we have to reach that level of understanding, of reasoning, I'm like, what happened? Who broke you? How do you not have this even just kindness towards yourself is hard. You find in the work that we do, we find men suppressing their own grief. They're like, no, my wife. I'm like, Gwe, first sit here with your grief and sort it out. And he's like, no, me, I'm fine. You know me, I'm fine. And then 2 years later, what you find, he has cut, like the emotions. Now, because he didn't deal with it. And we're not giving men space from even when they are young. When a baby boy falls down, they're like, get up. When a baby girl falls, oh my God, come, let me kiss your booty.
Okay?
okay. This boy is falling. We are looking at him like, get up. Don't cry. Don't let them see your tears. I'm like, what is this? Right? And most guys will argue and say, I know they're going to come in your comments and say, no, when men are vulnerable, then women can't handle it, because we don't see it. It's shock. When it even happens, when you cry in front of, I'm going to be like, what's happening? What am I supposed to do now with your tears? Do you see? So I think you being there has given you that out to deal with the father wound, because many people here, you can even see it. From the one who is trying to show himself, from the one who doesn't know how to express himself, from the one who is literally bouncing off walls of defensiveness. It's all father wounds. And I just wish men knew, especially fathers, the power that they wield over their children.
Yeah.
So you're up.
True.
Because I keep remembering my mom. My mom would say, okay, wait for daddy to come. Go. The pain in your body has already reached before even the punishment has been given. Do you understand? Now, you imagine a single mom. She's a duo. She's doing that. She's chaparing you. Then you come to her for hugs. What's going on? How do you expect that person to parent you in a straight line? It's not possible. So the thing of therapy and men, I wish they understood. I can't imagine paying someone 1 hour to talk about myself. This is the best gift ever. And I have this is just me and my problems. Now men with their egos, just for someone to sit there and tell you, oh yeah, so you have this, or my advice, or do you see it like this? Most people think that you got therapy and they fixed you. There's a lot of work to do.
So, Rachel, while you are still on the topic, you have written a book. Vessel in me. You have talked about grieving for women. Men also grieve. What lessons do men need to learn? And we have many men listeners, so please talk to the men right now. And my editor is going to take whatever you're going to say right now and make it a short, so we can spread it to men. Your woman has had a miscarriage. You've lost a baby. What should men know about that process? And how should they support and grieve the loss rather than let's have another child? Talk to the men, please. Men, this is you from Kecho Doctor.
Not doctor, but I received it in the
spirit. I have so many.
PhD.
Told by Dr. Kabul.
So the genesis is basically when you're making a baby, there's two of you. Yes. So when you lose the baby, there is two of you. So factor in yourself, because everyone has. I remember the father of my children was like, oh, you know me, I'm fine. Because I didn't see the baby.
Available ex-husband.
Okay. But, so when it's like me, I didn't carry the baby. I was waiting for the baby to come. Then I would be a father. I was like, Nico, from the moment we had those two lines, those two red lines, we were parenting. And it didn't hit me for a while. This was 2017. 2019 is when it hit him. And the problem we have with bereaved parents and grief is very selfish. Grief makes all of you have edges. So you can imagine trying to talk to someone. They are pointing a sword at you. The other one is also pointing a sword at you. And then you want them to grieve the way you grieve. If I cry every day, I also want you to sit and cry with me. Men are not going to do that. A man will do it once, twice. After that, is like, we need a solution. That's why most of them jump onto, let's have another baby. Let's have another one. If I haven't gone my own healing process, guess what? This is going to be an anxious pregnancy. It's going to be depressed. I'm going to end up with postpartum at a certain point, and then you're going to wonder, but what's the problem? There's another one here. I didn't go through that process. And grieve. So what we normally do at Vessel is we tell the as soon as, and I love when people get to us just when it has happened, because our advice then is you have to grieve together. Whether it means you get away from all the noise, go somewhere together, because it's like a 1 second break between now everything you say is irritating and annoying and I'm blaming you, to let's sit down and talk and have our feelings out there. It's also, I saw a statistic sometime and I was like, this can.
Did the meeting,
Rachel, did we lose you for a second?
I think she's frozen.
Yeah, technology, but it's been merciful. God has been good. This is the only important.
Yes.
Frozen. The last question we want to ask everybody: what advice would you give to your younger self? Kids, take it off. What advice would you give to your younger self when Kecho comes back? She will answer the same question. Immaculate will do the same thing, and we will close this conversation to be continued because we cannot exhaust it.
That's quite a wide question, but what today, right now, the way I feel, what advice would I have given to my younger self? Would have been stop being too spoiled. Eat your vegetables, exercise. Don't be spoiled, because I'm going through this whole health thing because of not looking after myself. So for me right now, it's about my health. So, play those games. You don't have to be reading your books all the time, and eat your vegetables. Yeah, and drink your juices. I think that's the advice I would give to my younger self.
All right. Margaret.
What advice? What advice would I give to my younger self? One is the being, I don't know, recognizing. I feel like it took me a while to recognize that the state I am in is not normal. That's the word I can use. So being able to, I don't even know the words to say, but to are you guys there?
Yes.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, I can.
Okay. The advice would be to understand myself, like really get to know who I am and love myself for who I am, and not trying to please everyone around you, but just be yourself. That is the thing. Be myself and love myself.
Nice one.
Thyself. All right, ladies. We lost Rachel, we lost iPhone, aka Letty, but we had an amazing conversation that's going to transform people's lives. We have grown as human beings, regardless of the challenges we have gone through. The joys and happiness has been so great. We thank God for that. And for those of you who are watching TJKshares one-on-one group meeting today, we thank you for coming. We thank you for subscribing, for sharing. Continue to learn, relearn, and unlearn as we grow together. We are here to support. We are here to be there for each other. And may God continue to guide us in whatever way we take. As our guide, protector, we thank you for coming. We're so thankful you made time. God sleep as the day continues here in the United States. Bye-bye and thank you. Share.
Bye. Have a blessed day.
Yes, let's continue to share, subscribe to this channel. We know for sure that the best is yet to come.